Okay. Hello, everyone, and warm welcome to our webinar. And thank you so much for joining us. My name is Yogesh Pandey, and I'm heading over business in western part of the country for Fisher India, a German-based company. I had pleasure to introduce our two experienced speakers and one of my good friend joining today with me, Mr. Anupam Sheil, who is heading pipeline and railway business for Stapi Limited, and Mr. Rohan Jaradi, heading business in South Gujarat for Retentionplan.
Thank you, Yogesh.
Yeah. We will present the preview report on COVID-19 global survey inside Businessimpact, followed by question and answer session at the end of the webinar. If you have further question, query during or after the webinar, please feel to submit them on the mentioned email IDs. We will try to reply with best of our answers. Okay, let's clear the vivid picture now that how the pandemic affected the business everywhere in all sector in all countries. Thank you once again for those who has taken part for this session. Rohan, a very warm welcome to you. And so now it's all over to you.
Thank you, Yogesh. Yes, we are all indeed in this together. Good evening, everyone. Now we are going to spend around next 20 minutes looking over to the key points from the COVID-19 survey. So this is the Global Economical Condition Survey of Q1 report. If you refer to my slide, the chart tells the simple story basically, tells the story about the confidence of economy in the current quarter, which is really falling quite dramatically. Now this takes the first 2 weeks of the March. In that particular period, and it was very important because exactly the time where COVID-19 crisis was really gaining, footholding you up, and that part is also shows some of the very initial policy responses coming out of the region, mainly mainly closing of the central banks. So it is a simple story. It clearly tells that it is an economic crisis, economic recession, and we have seen a mix and monetary system intervention by the current government to try and respond against the crisis so far. But clearly, it's totally an unprecedented situation. Now let us go through the implication. So here you can see the challenge is all across the sector, challenge with all size of organization, and the challenge across region, country, and around the world. The biggest problem is really about the business uncertainty, and with this uncertainty, of course, it's very difficult for organization to plan properly, and it is very difficult for organization to react. So it is really a contagious act. So to the most wide spectrum, the short-term impact is on people. Mainly many of the audience today will be surprised by that, but the particular concern is around the employment productivity level, but the real issue will be go beyond the people. So we have an issue such as reduction in customer demand, issues in supply chain, issues with product and service delay, and the issue seen about the investment as well. And that cause translation to the financial has been impacted because fundamental of all things is cash flow, and it is impacted. Of course, all things are interconnected. There are also an impact on health and safety as well. So there are some questions on the uncertainty over the impact of government economical stimulus package as well. So you can see here one biggest issue that data highlight is the business fall short of continuity plan, and this problem is really a big problem. Because clearly the strong continuity plan way in which business can first of all plan out the immediate responses to the crisis, but also should stop thinking about the past recovery as well. So many organization real situation is about growth perspective and are quite severely impacted. And this is consistent with different size of organization, sector, region, and country around the world. Now let us have a closer look at the issue and business impact seen in several responses. So if you look on the top of the chart, first of all, it is the employment productivity, and it's a big issue and it's being felt over the period. Followed by the issue of customer demand, issues such as supply relationship, logistic issue, challenge with the cash flow, and dumping with the wide operation deformations. So really it's a story how organization has to make his short-term plan for in survival mode at the moment. So look at the orange and green segment, right inside of the chart. Clearly the issues are going to be threaten the viability of the organization over next 6 months of period. I'm not surprising looking to the cash flow, which is a particular concern for the each and every organization, and which is really the organization viability. Looking to the chart, the viability of organization to be threatened by one or more of these issues for the next 12 months, and that's a quite big number from this many respondents. But one way, obviously, in which organization can do better understand the tensional impact on the price of their operation is through robust financial broadcasting. So you can see almost half of the respondent has not performed a financial reforecasting since the COVID-19 outbreak. And this number is a big number. And irrespective how difficult may be the plan of the moment, we still expect the organization to take some self-assessments where the business is heading and of course the financial impact implication plan. Moving to my next slide. So here are some of the strategy organizations are adapting to respond to the crisis. And this slide also shows the measures are already in place as well as which are actively being considered. So the immediate response priority seem to be highly focused is the employment well-being and obviously the things like flexible working arrangement. There are a lot of priorities also like data communication. Data communication plan not only with the employee but also with the customer supply and other stakeholders. And of course, the health and the safety precaution of the stakeholder group are priority. So moving forward to the data, it also shows more focus on the operational practicality is the fundamentally ensure that the business to be viable. Obviously, the cost reduction is a priority and also looking to delay in investment. So potential may phase shift to what I call more ensuring the financial fundamental of the organization, which are of course the oxygen, which is the cash flow impact, and things about the bank and debt negotiation and obligation and so on. So situation will continue going to evolve and we expect to see different type of strategies going to come on the string. More specifically, let us have quickly on a look of some of the response strategy being deployed around the remuneration and employment model according to the data, and the slide shows intervention already in place versus the actively being considered in the near future. Probably there is no surprise if the organization will take the steps such as recruitment freezing, and in many sense it will be an immediate action or immediate target because it is implemented very fast. Again, there are organization has to look with different remuneration models and employment models as well, and this different model is will be placed in part depending upon how the crisis will fall on. So looking to the response, around 55% of the respondents has already adopted the business continuity plan in place, and it is very effective for them as well. 29% has not have any plan in place, and 16% had one, but it is not been effective for them. So now let us go through the biggest market cap drop of COVID-19 during quarter one. So if you can see, all the sectors are in red. The main impact was on commercial airlines, oil and gas, air and travel, insurance, banking sectors, real estate, automotive and assembly lines, chemical agriculture, and last one is the healthcare. So COVID-19 has affected each and every sector of the industry. So you can see 47% of the respondent, sorry, 47 of the respondents had not performed a financial reforecasting since the COVID-19 outbreak. And this is going to play a major role. Every industry, every business has to reforecast their financial planning. And that will be the key for the future. Only 17% of the respondents considered that the economic stimulus package introduced by the government is effective. So industry has to rely on itself to see the future. So now let us quickly go through the organization which has already taken business continuity plan. So I have bifurcate them into large organization and the small organization. So here 69% of the organization has already started working on business continuity plan, and it is very effective from them as well. And around, if you consider small industries, small organization, 44% has already started working on that. So this was all from my side. I will ask Yogesh to further take care of this webinar. Yogesh, please.
Thank you, Rohan, for your words and statistics to clear the vivid picture and make us understand the complex things on a much easier way. We talked a lot about how we lift work in an uncertain world and how we must embrace agility, flexibility in face of that. It's true, of course, that when COVID-19 emerged in a very deadly way, so yes, our world is volatile, unpredictable, and confused. Very real soon we know that there are some certainties in which we can rely on. Human extent to put together an adaptation and to keep our families safe in a time of danger that has been experienced in millions of the people all around the world. So let's show me my PPT and we'll discuss more into that. More importantly, I wanted to show you Am I, Mr. Rohan?
Yes, you are audible, Yogesh. You can
Yeah,
continue.
my screen, you can see my screen, right?
Yes, yes. Please continue.
Yeah.
Yes,
Thank you.
visible, visible. It's visible.
Yeah. So most importantly, I wanted to show you that some other thing which we learn. As you know, in a country like India has the economy which is laying down on its feet much before, and now due to this pandemic, it comes on ground. If anyone could be much affected by this is us. Due to already lower economic, huge population, and now this COVID-19 pandemic. The rebound of this situation can only be possible by taking first three important steps, which we discuss in detail now. First is communication. It is vital to maintain clear, consistent, and transparent messages across a widespread workforce. Almost overnight, it's seen we master the whole suite of digital technology, which helps the people to stay in touch wherever they were. Messaging and web apps like Zoom, Skype, WhatsApp become a big part of everyone's world. Second is introducing differently. To stay operational, we have to adapt a whole new way of business with new shift pattern and hard working. It also means adapting to new rhythm of work and showing the patience and grace to recognize that everyone will try their hardest in hard circumstances. Third, I would like to more emphasis on industry. We needed, we needed to spend the money quickly on upgrading our IT to manage the extra demands. Like we should invest in new BPM server to transform the speed of communication so as to sustain the home working. If anything else, then this crisis taught us all about nothing can stop us in digital world. Perhaps with the effect of COVID-19, two important qualities emerge, which is absolutely essential for a successful organization. Firstly, the importance of acting on all time with kindness and generosity. Secondly, I'm determined that with the life and business eventually will become normal by the time, but those values will remain with us. Professional accountants whose role will be crucial to managing the recovery in a month and a year to come. Everybody working across 179 countries, many organizations have to make tough choices to reveal, change, and cancel plan to keep people safe and well continued are priority. Adapting new system to work efficiently to make the work going. Online PPTs and webinars for member and adding learning supports for students. Over developing months, we have to continue to develop new resources to support the company and make the work going with better efficiency. We are already aware about the harsh and true outbreak that we are working in a new emergency. We are already aware about the harsh and true outbreak that we are working in a new emergency. Now we will look into some statistics and results which reflect more to understand the current situation of entire global economy. So if you refer this slide, then it shows that how countries have invested their total stimulus packages to combat this pandemic based on the criticality and their GDP. In which if you notice that major countries like USA, Germany, China, Canada, Australia, followed by UK and India have invested a lot of amount to combat the situation. Now let us move ahead and see another picture that what is the capacity or revenue of these countries based on the manufacturing output basis. So here if you see again, there is an interesting story that clears rest of the things. If you dive me deep into this and let me explain, then countries like China, US, Japan, Germany, South Korea, India, Italy, France, UK, followed by other Z20 countries, which is actually having more than 70% share in the global world economy. Now, if we want to understand more from our past experience that how the situation like recession or depression came into our global economy, then we have to look into once the US GDP. If you refer this slide and recall the Great Depression in around 1933 and recession of 2008 and 9, then it clearly showed that the GDP of USA is declined sharply and so became the most important factor of the worst economic situation. Now we go back and in present scenario where if you see and compare that how USA has already given all of its manufacturing output into stimulus packages. Like US has already invested $2.3 trillion to combat this situation, though their capability of world's manufacturing output is around 2.3. And so other countries in the same way like China, Europe, Middle East, is not over. Save the survival and can't play much. This is the 21st century is all about, I must say no. So let's clear the air and discuss about what we can do to retain and rebound with this situation. And so is our retention plan. Organization can be thinking on in response to this crisis. I would like to share three main scenes. Attention to the physical and mental health of employees to develop an appropriate plan for the resumptions of work, an ongoing communication plan to engage and update employees regularly, and HR policies that address crisis measures. We should also shift to short-term focus, timelines, and targets where used to be refocused on near and mid-term horizon. Senior leader in the organization need to accept the change of their focus from the strategic to technical. And also understand the need of customer is super important to innovate and think differently about how you can support our customer at this time. A consideration of all communication channels to communicate key points are vital, and well is constantly monitoring feedback or being seek to respond quickly or smartly. To utilize the price management team to oversee major issues and to formulate business contingency plan to coordinate and align implementation across different departments and ensure speedy response and decision making. Initial is resilience plan to ensure businesses and maintain their huge operation, unexpected crises, and develop a strategy to address. And the second scene is very much important is to analyze. We need to model scenarios and plan for resumptions. Scenarios are not constant and require regular reviews. Understand how using both external and internal data with analytical capabilities, which can put in a stronger position. Resumptions should be planned in spaces without going to be packed to the wall than it would be before. We should plan to dealing with the new norms. Strong focus on cash management and liquidity should be in place with the two phases of planning. Also review the government fiscal policies that may be benefit. Monitor the relief measures and policies introduced by the government and prepare to fully benefit, negotiate their debts, financing obligation, government stimulus packages such as long service moratorium. This is the critical role for the finance team to help and explore all opportunity to secure cash flow. And the third scene is to anticipate. We need to look for opportunities to innovate, leverage on technologies, and to ensure the engagement with the employees, customers, and suppliers are enhanced. Innovate around on new product services that respond the current situation and reveal company strategy. Re-examine business models, explore new channels to market, supply chain diversification, new business risks remain. Don't lose sight of the fundamental in the face of COVID-19. The organization will still face existing risks, for example, cybercrimes. And also different from a strategic reaction, will these risks lead into new risks? Finally, let me end on an optimistic note that COVID-19 has made all of us to look at on a new way. It has proved that the phase of global change and technologies are trying for over national border is an automatically positive. This idea that a people can cross a planet is in less than a day, diseases can too. But COVID-19 adds an aftermath shows that ingenuity and resources can tackle anything, even in the fastest moving pandemic in the history of the world. It will remind us that we require flexibility, enterprise, and purpose to prevail in the face of this outbreak, that this thing else that the 21st century can control. After COVID-19, the world will need a new breed and digitally serving financial professionals dedicated to ethical behavior in the pursuit of integrity to rebuild confidence in the wounded global economy. There is not that much skill which we know about COVID-19, but what we do know that there will be a day that this will not longer be here. The history of pandemic and laws of nature, science, and mathematics tells us that. So now on this note, I will hand over rest of my webinar to Mr. Anupam Sil and requesting him to share his views and experience and some of rest of the things. Anupam sir, please.
Thank you, Yogesh. You can allow me to present. And
Yeah. Rohan, will you please,
so,
Anupam Sil sir, slide please, yeah. Just a second.
so I would like to thank, first of all, Rohan and Yogesh for giving their valuable inputs in the given context.
Sir,
I would just like to,
it is
yes.
still it is still not shared. Please let me to give you control, please.
Yes, I think you have to do that. I would like to summarize initially some of the points which Rohan and Yogesh has covered, because I was been asked to be a panelist. So just to recap on a few things, Rohan started with saying that the confidence is dropping. It is quite obvious when you have life fear and people say that you're afraid of death. So from and the struggle for survival. So it is obvious that the confidence is dropping uh, at economical level, at a personal level, at all levels. Yes, the initial implications, he said, that is the cash flow, and very nicely repeated by Yogesh. He mentioned that liquidity is the lifeblood today, and we are all already in the maybe the second or third month. Several countries are in the third or fourth month. They are realizing various measures, of course, are being taken, including remuneration adjustments. Uh, we know that it has affected all the sectors. One very good thing which Rohan has added, that reforecasting of your business plans, which is very important, because when you make a business plan, every business makes an end-to-end plan, considering that what are the investments and what are the outputs that it is going to it can achieve, or it is intending to achieve. So reforecasting and just being optimistic is good. Being positive is good. At the same time, it's like a balance between being optimistic and being practical. So reforecasting of business plans, and as most of the larger conglomerates as well as the smaller also showed about 44%, and the larger conglomerates, of course, they are more prepared. They are more prepared with their business continuity plan. Yogesh added that IT upgradation is very important. I will also add something to that when I come to my presentation. And then there are, of course, global. He threw some light on the global stimulus packages, global manufacturing output, which is very important, and just to understand that where are you in the race. And he elaborated on act, analyze, and anticipate. So short-term and mid-term focuses are very important. Today, I think short-term focus is all that we are looking. Today, we are realizing what is short-term planning. We are almost planning on a day-to-day basis. On a day-to-day basis, business generated material moved out on the what has been taken out in the logistics. So really, we are working on short-term. Rather, we are working on an hourly basis. And finally, of course, optimistic and optimism is important. I would like to, just add a few cents of mine in this, and probably I'll be. Let me just share my presentation. I don't know. Is a white screen visible?
Yeah,
Yes,
it's
sir.
fine.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
All right, fine. So we'll move ahead. Uh, just just a little. I would like to give a little glimpse of the GDP. Let us just understand. Normally, our Indian GDP, talking about India as a market, is divided into three sectors. One is the services sector, which you will see number 3, and then we have industry sector and we have agricultural sector. So if you see percentage wise, what is the gross value added in all these sectors, and then the subdivisions are also given. So it gives you an idea. Let us, just for simplicity of understanding, if we see just 1, 2, 3, 4, and which are the large contributors. So you would see in 1, it is financial, real estate, and professional services, which has been contributing maximum in our GDP, which is an 18-19 figure. Then in number 3, these numbers on the right side of the column is manufacturing. Number two is trade, hotels, transport, communication services, broadcasting, aviation also falls into that. And then number 3 is manufacturing. Number 4 is agriculture, forestry, and fishing. Then we have public administration, defense, and other services, followed by construction, followed by mining and quarrying. After that, electricity, gas, water supply, and other utility services. So this is the, we all work in some industrial segment or other, and we have a fair idea. Either we are working in this segment or we are serving these segments. So this is just to give a picture of how much my business is going to get impacted. Because we talked about initially, when Rohan was elaborating on that, we talked about there's a shrinking demand. We can expect some demand drop. So this business shrinkage, in order to understand that at a personal level, this is just a throwback on our GVA. Now we have to understand, when we are talking about business transition, we had a situation which was pre-COVID situation, which was a highly competitive situation. We all know that. And there's going to be a post-COVID situation, which is going to be fiercely competitive, much more even before that. But I believe that there is a in-between situation where we are going to live with COVID, and we have to continue our business today, tomorrow, this week, or the next month, or the next couple of months, or maybe this entire 2020 year. So what are the what are the things which will play a very important role? Because the first 3 things are directly associated with with the fear of human life loss. So we have to work. Social distancing is a norm right now, which means there will be more of automation. When we say social distancing is a norm, that means more of automation has to be there in order to maintain that. Then comes virtual communication, covered by earlier speakers, but we understand that now we have to improve the communication tools. We need a digital platform. Then Third is productive from home. We have to be productive, but we are working from home at this moment, what we are doing right now, which means it will require not only a change in the work culture, but also a change in the home culture. We could have, still heard some background noises. We can understand, we are operating from home. This is common. So, which means that it will require a cultural and mindset change, not only in the work front, but at the home front. When for some time, which could be a couple of months, productivity from home is important for us. Then I think we come to the upright human value. The reason I say this, of course, better safety standards. I look at it from two perspectives. One is when we talk of safety standards, we are definitely taking precautions. We are wearing masks. We are using sanitizers. We are disinfecting our workplaces. But let us see the pre-COVID situation. I'm going to be a little raw on this. If you look at the industries, all of you, I understand, are working in industry. We talk about ISO 9001, 14001, 18001. How many of you have seen, and you have seen the plight of workers working in a big industrial sector? Today, the big industries are restricting their manpower. They are outsourcing to contractors and then subcontractors. After 6 o'clock, maybe I'm sounding like a communist, but it is a fact. And because there is a difference, there's a stark difference between the work culture in India as compared to what it is in other places. So after 6 o'clock, when the worker goes home after giving his 8 or 10 hours of productivity to a big industrial organization, what is the situation? What kind of situation they live in? Now, social distancing has come into place. We are talking about safety. We are talking about desanitizing. Has the industry ever gone and looked into that? The contractor and the subcontractors, laborer, how they are living, what are the living conditions? So I just, I think partially that will be improved, because today what I'm hearing is that infrastructure projects which are said to be on the run, and the contractors, major contractors, the EPC contractors have been asked to make arrangements, the hut tents and the staying arrangements, so that it is in line with COVID-19 norms. That is what I mean to say is, because of COVID-19, maybe a lot of things which we should have done earlier will be done now. Beyond this, the next 2 points are more at a personal level, and that's why I have added this word, hopefully. Maybe we'll be indulge in more conscious eating. Maybe during making business choices or making personal choices, we will consider sustainability first, and the mad consumerism with which we were driving our lives will come down. But these are all personal choices, but these personal choices actually drive the market. What we need to understand that individuals only drive the market, and that's why I've written, hopefully there will be some changes in that. We know what are the industries. This is going to be very repetitive. We know these are the industries which are going down: tourism, hospitality, aviation, multiplex, malls, automobiles, all luxury items, live sports, real estate, and a lot of non-essentials which are related to lifestyle related. There are some industries which will definitely go up. As I said, automation, social distancing, and when we are talking about improved safety norms, we are talking about more automation taking place. Remote learning will be the key, I think, at least for the even for the industry also, and for the education institute as well, which will require better digital platforms. So guys into telecommunication, those who are into IoT or artificial intelligence or machine learning, I think, or even IT sector, we will require a lot of that support to pull us through. Entertainment, which is an integral part, which will be direct to home. So that is something which we can see there will be a rise in that. And of course, e-commerce practices. There will be some industries which I personally feel will level out. There could be a upward movement because of over consumerism, but these are basic essentials of life, and I don't think so. It can never die down. It will level out, but there will be a reduction, as Rohan started, that all industries will get affected, which is to sometimes to a great extent because of you can say over consumerism, or sometimes doing something, overdoing things. So these are some of the sectors which I feel like power, oil and gas, construction, logistics, and financial sector, which are basic necessities, and they'll level out. Retention, when it comes to retaining plan, I'm talking about manpower retention. And when we talk about manpower retention, I see that, first thing, mindset change will be readiness, the adaptability of an individual, readiness to change in the given situation. Another thing, as a business manager also, and when you're driving a business, I believe, other people will also agree with me, you would require people having multi-skill. You would require somebody to having, not somebody who can just go and do a sale. Maybe he can do a sale and he can at the same time work on the, the back end. He can work on a little bit on the accounts part also. He can take care. So you require people who are multi-skill. Another thing is dispersed manpower. Today, many industries are working with, where manpower has been localized to a great extent. They have made certain hubs. So I believe that industry has to work. I'm not talking about the manufacturing industry. Manufacturing has to work with whatever bare minimum manpower it requires to give a certain output. But I'm talking about supporting end. Uh, so a dispersed manpower, particularly the distribution network, dispersed manpower will be one of the requirements. Another thing is a lot of industries would have to move to the e-commerce platform. Even if we are not selling, many industries, including the industry I work in, construction chemicals, we work in, things which are tangible materials, which is to be seen, felt. But still, a lot of e-commerce platform we have to adopt because of because of the limitation of reaching out to a customer in in personally, which is why I said dispersed manpower will be very important today. So e-commerce platform and the way of communicating through e-commerce has to be upgraded. A lot of web promotions will take place because even the purchasers will be also largely dependent. Every purchaser will have a job of looking for alternatives. So there'll be better e-commerce platforms which will come, I'm sure, in future. And web promotion will be a part of the marketing expense if the industry was not already spending. And this also has been covered. For doing all this, we require a much upgraded IT tools than what we are operating from today. Today, while I talk to you and you're listening to me, my mobile is my modem. So probably we'll have to, we have to upgrade many things. Now, after this, we talked about retention plan. I would like to end my thoughts here. This is attention plan. At an individual level, I would like to leave with this thought that we are all wanting that the lockdown ends and we restart things. We want to once again, come back to the normalcy, whatever the way we were living. But we need to slightly think that whether really we want to restart or we want to reset, because restarting would mean also repeating the same mistakes what we have been doing, mistakes from a personal perspective, from a lifestyle perspective, from a sustainability perspective. So really, do we want to just restart or we want to reset? So at all levels, at an industrial level, at an economic level, at a moral level, at an individual level, we have to think whether we want to restart or reset. So with this, I would like to, few words I would like to just end here. And if there are any questions, we'll be glad to have some discussion.
Yeah.
I see a lot of participants whom I also know. So if any questions, most welcome.
So I thought some